Oh, hey, you see that new movie?
Dude, I did see that new movie.
Yeah, the one with the guy?
Oh, that was insane.
At the end?
I cannot believe
Crazy.
it. Hey, now that you bring it up, what are we doing for our Rise Episode 3 intro?
I think this is it.
What's going on, Centennial? Welcome to the third episode of The Rise. We're your hosts, Grant Blevins.
And I'm Raven Potter. Let's jump right into our first segment.
Newtown is a beautiful park in Johns Creek, Georgia. It has many different amenities for people to enjoy. One is the dog park.
Alright, well, I love Newtown Park. Come here play basketball with some of my friends. Got a nice dog park behind us over there. Come around, enjoy the time out here. It's nice weather too, so.
Another attraction is the different sports that are offered at Newtown. They offer tennis, lacrosse, soccer, and many other different sports. They also have an open-air amphitheater where they hold concerts and many other different activities.
Okay, my favorite thing to do in the park is walk. And honestly, I challenge anybody who comes to Newtown Park to stay in a bad mood, because when you come up here, you see the dogs, you see the park, you see kids, you see adults, and it's just, to me, totally impossible to stay in a bad mood if you come to Newtown Park, and that's why I love to walk here.
Newtown has 2 miles of trails, 3 picnic pavilions, and 2 playgrounds. It's also home to the Veterans Walk, and they will be adding a new attraction coming next month.
Hey Centennial, I decided to make a little video about the school. I wanted to make something positive with a little bit of inspiration. So I went ahead and asked a couple of our teachers the same question. How would you describe Centennial?
Positive.
Happy.
Passionate.
Dedicated.
Wonderful.
Promising.
Salad.
Inclusive.
Eclectic.
Open-minded.
Alive.
Impressive.
Welcoming.
Entertaining.
Balanced.
Spirited.
Awesome.
High energy.
When I think Centennial, I think community.
Classic.
Collaborative.
Innovative.
Accepting.
Spontaneous.
Diverse.
I think we're a family.
Wow, what a great segment. Now I'm here with Josh Moore, one of the main actors in our school play, Moon Over Buffalo. Josh, tell me a little bit about the play.
So it takes place in the 50s in Buffalo, New York. It deals with a acting family heavily involved in the theater and the crazy shenanigans that they get into. And knowing the theater kids here, you know how crazy it can get.
Definitely. So what are some of the times that students can go see it this weekend?
Tonight at 7 p.m., tomorrow at 3, and again tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Okay, cool. So again for you guys, that's tonight at 7 p.m., tomorrow at 3 p.m., and tomorrow at 7 p.m. You guys should definitely go check it out. Now, let's get into our next segment on The Rise, made by Caleb Sod.
Do I only get one take?
Yeah.
What? It's so hard.
It's supposed to make an honest reaction. Quite on set.
Should I look at you or look at the camera?
Look at me.
Okay.
Alright. Do you know why I brought you here today?
No.
Alright, I'm just going to have you read a story, okay?
Okay.
Just give me your honest reaction as you're reading it, and just do your thing.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Richard looked at the squidgy?
Yes.
Okay, squidgy ruler, I don't think that's a word. Looked at the squidgy ruler in his hands and felt worried. He walked over to the window and reflected on his peaceful surroundings.
He had always loved Dope, the computer room, with its crooked, cooling computers.
That was really terrible English.
It was a place that encouraged his tendency to feel worried.
Then he saw something in the distance, or rather someone. It was the figure of Chris.
Chris was a ruthless juggler with ruddy fingers and greasy hands. Richard gulped. He glanced at his own reflection.
He was a tight-fisted, articulate soda drinker with tall fingers and curvy hands.
His friends saw him as a happy, healthy hero. But not even Richard was prepared for what Chris had in store today.
The sun shone like a rampaging pigeons, making Richard anxious. As Richard stepped outside and Chris came closer, he could see the splendid smile on his face.
I am here because I want a cool jacket.
Chris bellowed in a clumsy tone.
He slammed his fist against Richard's chest with the force of 4,757 frogs.
I friggin' hate you, Richard. Richard looked back, even more anxious and still fingering the squidgy ruler. Chris, eat my shorts, he replied.
Suddenly, Chris lunged forward and tried to punch Richard in the face. Quickly, Richard grabbed the squidgy ruler and brought it down on Chris's head.
Chris's ruddy fingers trembled and his greasy hands wobbled.
He looked puzzled, his body raw like a slow smoked sandwich. I think if it was smoked, it wouldn't be raw anymore. That's... Jeez, Caleb.
Then he let out an agonizing groan and collapsed onto the ground. Moments later, Chris was defeated.
Richard went back inside and made himself a nice drink of soda. The end. What in the world?
Is that Shakespeare?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Who wrote that?
I did.
That was... What kind of story was that?
I'm Lynn Stallings. I'm the executive director of the Atlanta Workshop Players. I have the best job in the entire world because I spend all day, every day with creative people doing something different every day. So that's pretty cool. We have a film school conservatory, and we also have a musical theater program, and we do improv and all kinds of things like that. So it's a training program, but also a production company. So the kids take their art and apply it. In fact, our motto is kids changing the world one audience at a time, and they really and truly do. So we do PSAs and character education projects and write original musicals, and we're working on a feature film now that is about bullying, and it's called Masquerade, and so we're very excited about that. So we are in pre-production. So the kids learn a lot of things, and they get to use the things that matter in life and deliver those messages to their peers through the work they do. I founded the company in 1981, so I've been doing this for almost 38 years, but actually I've been doing this for 50 years, 50 years, a long time. It is my life's passion. That's the key to happiness, really, is to find what you love to do and then figure out how to do it for your whole life. there are nice fringe benefits. I mean, they learn to be better artists, so they learn to act and sing and dance and all of those things, but they also learn communication skills, they build their confidence, they learn all kinds of skills that will help them in regular life, whatever they choose to do. So that comes in very handy. And it even helps with oral book reports at school and when they're running for class president and when they become the CEO of a corporation and they get up to give speeches and things, it makes that less frightening. Every year for the last 5 years we've done a big fundraising production called Tower of Talent, and it is benefiting the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, and it's going to be at the brand new Sandy Springs Performing Arts Center, which is a gorgeous theater that seats 1,100 people, and we bring in artists who are kids from all over Georgia and some from all over the country, people who have performed at Carnegie Hall and they have done America's Got Talent and Little Big Shots and all of that kind of thing. They are really stellar performers who happen to be kids. And so that performance is this coming Saturday at 7:30 at night. So if you want to come and be entertained and do it all for a good cause, absolutely come and play.
In high school, it's important to know what you're passionate about.
Let's take a look at a segment created by Ariel Harper, Marley Rosen, and Caleb Sod that discusses exactly this.
Hi, my name is Randy Sod, and I am in promotion, marketing, and management in the music industry, and I've been in the industry for 25 years.
I'm Christopher Sieving. I'm Associate Professor of Film Studies in the Department of Theater and Film Studies.
And I'm Riel Nowitzki, and I'm an Assistant Professor of Film Studies here at UGA.
My name is Gray Sarton. I am a Career Technology Instructional Specialist.
My name is Amy. I'm a Theater and Public Relations double major with a minor in Communication Studies.
I teach mainly film history classes.
I'm also mostly trained as a film historian.
Some of the artists that I've worked with include 95 South and their song Woot There It Is, and quarterback the whole marketing campaign behind that song, as well as other artists like Lil Jon and Ashford and Simpson and Curtis Mayfield and some legendary artists such as that, and then eventually started my own company where I had the pleasure of working with artists such as Sean Mullins and Jennifer Nettles and Butch Walker, as well as Chris Jericho and Tony Lewis from the Outfield. I really got interested in the music industry side of things when I was a senior at the University of Georgia, and I was booking bands for my fraternity and other fraternities around campus, as well as some local clubs, and thought it would be a great industry to get into, and I pursued it after I graduated.
Became interested in this field through just going to video stores and you know, back in the day when we had VHS and DVD.
I just really wanted to learn more about film.
Once you find out what you're passionate about, find a way to make a living at that. There's nothing more important than doing what you're passionate about, because if you love it, it won't feel like work.
Carve out the time, kind of taking your creative projects or interests and maybe exploring them in different contexts.
So I think if you want to get into a field that is on the creative side, that it is something that you definitely follow your dreams, you stay resilient, and stay passionate about what you want to do.
Try to just put your phone down, get away from a screen, or preferably have it be a screen that's larger than you.
And it's more important that you're happy than like just making money doing something that you hate.
If it's creative especially, don't let people talk you out of doing that.
It's definitely a survival type of mentality, but it's something that if you have the passion for it and you enjoy it, then you put the effort in and the work and you keep the dream alive, then you'll definitely see the rewards from it.
Thanks, Mr. Wizard.
You're welcome.
The Market is a new school store that has anything from pencils to school spirit wear.
Let's take a closer look.
So the idea behind the market was to basically have students be able to get school supplies and different things that they need, kind of like just whatever they need for the day.
I like the market because I get to do the cashier and learn how to do money. We sell cappuccinos, t-shirts, and school supplies.
My job is to keep people in order, and my main job is doing the cash register. Sometimes it gets hectic, but some days I just want to take a break, but this is a 24-hour shift like firemen and police officers.
I like the market because it's a way for people to come if they're missing anything. So if you need pencil, we got it. If you're thirsty for coffee, we got it. If you need markers, we also got that.
We sell everything from coffee, etc., etc. And I always say, welcome to the market, may I please take your order, just like Chick-fil-A.
So how this helps CBI students is it gives them different job skills that they can, use to develop, being successful, like serving customers, greeting customers, learning how to use the register and things like that. So it really helps them build those job skills that are valuable for them to have in the future.
The market teaches us what to do in real life.
The market is somewhere for people to go to get supplies, get a drink, or anything that we need. My job is to work the register, but other people have other jobs like getting stuff in the back, making sure we have the supplies stocked up, and counting what we sell.
So the market, I guess the idea behind that was thinking of the knights and Centennial, and probably back in the medieval times there was a market. There was a place where people could go to get stuff, and so that's the idea behind this is we can have our own school spirit store. We can have different items, have clothes, shirts, and things like that in it. And so just the idea where we can come and get everything and we kind of can make it our own place.
There are people in the world who are so sick or so angry that they sometimes hurt other people. And they're usually the ones who end up in the news. Well, the people who are doing these terrible things are making a lot of other people sad and angry.
Programs and TV shows have been produced for children since the invention of television. At the beginning, large corporations would use children's entertainment to sell to the children.
Such as the candy company Bonobos would. They sponsored The Magic Clown, which was a popular children's show in the late 1940s and 50s. The show was made by Tico Bonobo, the owner of the candy company. It was made for the sole purpose of selling his candy.
He went on to state, introducing our candy on television allowed us to take a product like Turkish taffy, which was one that you had to fight for distribution, and made it a big success.
This kind of advertising is very controversial and is called tie-in advertising, which was prohibited by the FCC on broadcast television.
After children's shows showed to be successful in the 1950s, the three big networks, CBS, ABC, and NBC, started to play cartoons on Saturday mornings. These companies knew when kids were most likely watching TV and capitalized on this. These cartoon blocks worked very well, and the companies claimed they had around 20 million viewers as these early morning shows played. From the 1960s to the 1990s, this was very successful. Until 2003, their viewers would only drop to 2 million. This was due to their new competition, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network, which offered cartoons all week and not just Saturday mornings.
Towards the end of September, some of our RISE students went and attended a honeybee conference in Atlanta.
This conference discussed the importance of bees to our environment. Let's take a look.
What's up, Centennial? My name is Elizabeth, and welcome to the Georgia Bee Association Conference.
My name is Brutz English, and I am the Honey Show Committee Chairman for the Georgia Beekeepers Association. My favorite part of coming to conferences is seeing my beekeeping friends from around the state and around the southeast. My job is to organize and put together the honey shows at each of our conferences. About 4 years. I've been keeping bees for 10 years. Well, I was oddly enough introduced into beekeeping when I was incarcerated. I was in prison in 2006-07, and another inmate introduced me to the idea of beekeeping. I grew up on a farm, and I have had some agricultural background, and I wanted to do something different. And when I got out, I got some bees and got started, and then joined my local bee club in the GBA, and the rest is sort of history. I've grown into a commercial honey producer now. I got my start at a really low point in my life, and beekeeping has really helped me build a nice life for myself and my family. I joined the GBA my second year of beekeeping and became a honey judge a couple years after that in 2012, and a senior honey judge in 2016. And then my certification is through the Young Harris Beekeeping Institute, which they teach at Young Harris College each May. And I became the presiding judge for the system in the state of Georgia this past year. And I now teach the Welch Honey judging system in Georgia and Alabama every year. Bees are important for a lot of reasons. Aside from making honey, bees are a very efficient pollinator. A great deal, almost 2/3 of the different things we eat variety-wise are pollinated by honeybees, and they're essential to our food chain and our environment. Well, some of the best things you can do to help the bees out in your neighborhood are plant beneficial things. It doesn't have to be anything wild or crazy. The general rule is if you can eat it, the bees can eat it. So any kind of flowering plant, shrub, or tree is beneficial for your bees. Another thing you can do is avoid the use of pesticides during the day and on flowering items. If you have to use a pesticide in a home garden, if you'll use something that's applied either at night or at times when the bees are not on the flowers, it can be a lot better for you, or a lot less dangerous for your bees. You should expect the opportunity to learn a lot. We have some of the most informative conferences with some of the best speakers from around the country come speak at our conferences. The other thing you should expect is to have fun. We have a great program with a lot of interesting events and functions, with a lot of diversity to keep all of our members entertained and occupied at our conferences. The best advice I can give to a new beekeeper is find and join a local bee club. You will be able to find a mentor there, and you will be able to find people who will be able to answer your questions and help you along the way as you learn about keeping bees.
That is all I have.
Well, thank you very much.
In our community, the Chattahoochee Nature Center does a lot to help our environment. They were kind enough to let us get an inside look on what they do.
My name is John Copsey. I'm the marketing manager of the Chattahoochee Nature Center, and I've been here for a little over 2 years. The Chattahoochee Nature Center is 42 years old. It's 127 acres right on the Chattahoochee River in Roswell. We are one of the largest nature centers in the southeast, and probably one of the busiest. We have about 140,000 visitors every year. A lot of those are schools, especially from the Atlanta metro school system, but we also get a good number of people from East Cobb, Roswell, North Fulton coming by to our many events. We're open 363 days a year, so we're open just about any time you want to come by. We have bald eagles, we have different types of hawks like red-tailed hawk, red-shouldered hawk, Cooper's hawk, various kinds of owls. All the animals that came here are injured in some way, so we're not like a zoo who just keeps animals that we find. Every animal would not survive in the wild, so they have broken beaks, broken wings, broken legs. They have some sort of internal problem. They may have been imprinted on humans, so they can't survive in the wild in some way. With hawks and birds of prey in particular, they have a habit of running into windows. So downtown, with all the skyscrapers, a lot of birds that run into the windows, and that will injure them if not kill them. And so we've been working with the Atlanta Audubon Society to figure out a way to stop that. And so our Discovery Center, which is our admissions area as well as a museum, we have partnered with the Audubon Society to have an experiment where we've got little decals of dots on all of our windows that it is hoped will discourage birds from running into our windows, so they can see it from further away. They can avoid our building. so far that seems to have been working. So it sounds like a good experiment that we've had that we hope can be replicated all around the state, if not the country. So we are open most days of the year, and there is an admissions price, but with that admission you get entry for the whole day. You can come and go as you please. Bring a picnic, and a lot of our events are included with that as well, but you get to see all our animals on exhibit, as well as daily happenings such as getting up close and personal with a naturalist who's holding an animal like a snake or a turtle, or sometimes even a bird of prey. And we have lots of exhibits with partners such as the Roswell Fine Arts Alliance. So we have things like paintings and photography displays on, as well as films and just events throughout the year.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at something really important to me, and that is greatness itself. Now I know that a lot of you are into superheroes like Superman or Spider-Man or Donald Trump. But I'm willing to bet that you've never seen a real superhero until today. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce Troy Hertubees. He was a Canadian inventor, and now he's a Canadian hero. Take a look.
An almost deadly experience he encountered once before.
Smashes me to the chest. With such force, I fly back.
Parkour! The grizzly spared his life, and now Hertubees is determined to return the favor.
This is what sets Troy apart from the ordinary person. The ordinary person really doesn't care about animals, and if they did, they would spend all their time trying to save the endangered ones, but not Troy. He's going to save the non-endangered species as well as the endangered ones.
Coming face to face again with a grizzly doesn't seem to faze Hertubees one bit.
This suit...
I don't know what I love more here, the suit itself or his little crew that helps him put it on. I mean, you've got his buddy Ned from down the road, and then you've got like Elroy, and nobody really likes Elroy, but he insisted on coming along because he's like fanatically obsessed with bears.
This suit will withstand an attack of a grizzly bear.
Hertubees invented this Mark VI.
Wait, Mark VI? So you're telling me that he's had 5 other prototypes, and the best thing he's come up with so far is an astronaut's helmet flex taped to a cheese grate.
Bear-proof suit made from titanium, plastic, rubber, and chainmail.
Chainmail? Why chainmail? What he's going to be doing? He's going to be jousting the bear?
The suit is hooked up with equipment that will document and record the unknown facts of a bear.
He bites into the bite bar, and we'll be able to record for the first time the pounds per square inch biting power of a grizzly bear.
Now, why would you need to know the biting power of a grizzly bear? How would that save them from becoming extinct?
And Hertubees is convinced this 150-pound suit will protect anyone from a grizzly's deadly assault.
If the bear attacks, you're going to be okay.
I trust this guy with my life.
To prove his theory that the suit does in fact work, Hertubees risked his life and put it through test after test.
I love how she says test after test, like it's actual scientific stuff that they're doing.
That's a lot of damage.
First, he shot the suit with a 12-gauge shotgun. Then he launched a 300-pound log dead center towards his chest. That's not crazy enough. He had a 3-ton truck ram right into him at a speed of 30 miles per hour.
We're in 2018.
Yep.
This guy's in 2099.
Well, he was having so much fun, he decided to toss himself down a ravine.
I can honestly say that that is the first time I've ever heard that sentence.
In the end, because of Hertubees' passion and hard efforts, the North American grizzly will live.
Now why? Why would they live? Because there's a suit out there that protects you from grizzly bears driving trucks? He hasn't done anything the whole video that's going to help save bears from extinction.
The question is, will he?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say no to that one.
Hey Centennial, it's Joe Scott. As an avid film lover, I often find it surprising how many students, including film students, aren't aware of the careers and influence of directors from the golden age of Hollywood. This realization inspired me to begin this new director series, in which I hope to shed a light on some classic filmmakers who had a substantial influence on the evolution of film technique. This week, I'll be focusing on one of the pioneers of the modern acting technique, Elia Kazan. Elia Kazan was born on September 7, 1909 to Cappadocian Greek parents. After attending Williams College and then the Yale School of Drama, he acted professionally for 8 years, later moving to New York City and joining the Group Theater in 1932. The Group Theater was a theater troupe dedicated to performing shows with deep social or political undertones. As an artist, Kazan was interested in exploring the social and psychological implications of drama rather than just the purely political. This would go on to garner him critical acclaim as an actor in some dramatic works, as well as a director of some of the Group Theater's plays. Kazan's film career began in 1945 with the film A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, the first on his long list of films that tackled contemporary American concerns. In 1947, he co-founded the Actors Studio with actors Robert Lewis and Cheryl Crawford. It was at the Actors Studio, under the direction of Lee Strasberg, that the concept of method acting began to take form. Kazan's exploration of social injustice continued in 1947 with his second film, Gentleman's Agreement, one of the first mainstream American films to tackle the subject of anti-Semitism. The film won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and won Kazan an Oscar for Best Director as well. This film was followed by Pinky, one of the first mainstream Hollywood films to tackle the subject of prejudice against black people. As he directed more Hollywood films, Kazan began to develop a reputation as the actor's director, being able to draw out the best dramatic performances from his actors. This is especially true for his classics A Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront, both of which are widely regarded as having set the framework for modern acting styles. He was also responsible for launching the careers of several of the Golden Age's biggest stars, including Marlon Brando for the aforementioned films Streetcar Named Desire and On the Waterfront, and James Dean in 1955's East of Eden. A turning point in Kazan's career came when he testified as a witness before the House Committee on Un-American Activities in 1952 at the time of the Hollywood blacklist, which brought him strong negative reactions from many liberal friends and colleagues. This controversy followed him for the rest of his life. Upon receiving an honorary Oscar in 1999, dozens of actors chose not to applaud as demonstrators picketed the event. Despite the controversy that surrounded him at the end of his career, Elia Kazan remains a steadfast icon of American cinema, a master who revolutionized the actor's relationship to the story.
Hey Centennial, one quick announcement. If you're a soccer player or interested in playing soccer, please have your parents come to a meeting on October 23rd at 7 p.m. in the Learning Commons.
Welcome to the Rise's True Crime Unit, where we discuss crimes that occur in our area. Today's case we're discussing is the Atlanta child murders.
Funeral services were held today for 15-year-old Joseph Bell, the 24th victim in Atlanta's child slayings. And as Bruce Hall reports, a woman reportedly is now telling authorities about a man she links to some of the crimes.
And for money. How many of the murdered children have you seen around here?
About 10 of them. I told the man that
Eddie Duncan and 21-year-old Larry Rogers would be killed next. A few days later, Duncan and Rogers were killed. She also claimed...
On July 28, 1979, the bodies of Edward Hope Smith, also known as Teddy, and Alfred Evans, also known as Q, both age 14, were found in a wooded area. Teddy had a .22 caliber gunshot wound in his upper back. They were considered to be the first two victims of the Atlanta child killer. As time went on, the victims were a wide range of ages, but they all came from the same geographical location and they were all black. In total, there were 23 people killed from 1979 to 1981. As media attention about the case intensified, the FBI started getting more antsy about catching the killer. They noticed that the dump sites had a pattern and the next body should be dumped near water. Police staked out many different water sources, and on May 22, 1981, a police officer got lucky and heard a splash beneath a bridge. Another officer saw a white 1970 Chevrolet station wagon turn around and drive across the bridge. They stopped the car, and the driver was 23-year-old Wade Bertram Williams, a supposed music promoter and freelance photographer. He said he had an appointment with a singer, but no appointment was ever found written down or confirmed. The back of the car matched fibers found on some of the bodies. These fibers were found to be a match for his dog and the rug upstairs of his house. Wade was arrested and convicted of the murders of the two adults. He received 2 life sentences. They never convicted anyone for the murders of the other 26 victims and just attributed most of them to him. Many people questioned whether Wayne was guilty of all the murders or any at all. The prosecution has many times been called into question, and the evidence was extremely circumstantial. Besides the fibers, the only other evidence they had were a few witnesses describing Wayne being seen with one of the men or soliciting sexual acts. Now 60 years old, Wayne still declares his innocence. In May 2004, the newly appointed DeKalb County Police Chief reopened the cases to 5 of the victims that presided in the DeKalb County area. New evidence is added to the trial for Williams to prove his innocence. Although a man resides in jail, there has been little to no closure for the families of the victims, and most of the cases remain open. Let us know what you believe happened.
Hey, I'm Catherine, and I'm a part of Centennial's track and field team.
So, initially, what was your motivation for running?
Initially my parents wanted me to get involved in sports once I was diagnosed with a physical disability called cerebral palsy, and we tried out a lot of sports called I just tried like ballet, rock climbing, and then track and field. I saw my coaches, like the CHS coaches, like Coach Higgins, really wanted me to try running because we knew that would help with my mobility and things. So my parents and Coach Higgins were really my motivation for getting started.
Ability-wise, how are you different now than when you first started?
I am definitely more confident in my ability of track and field and like in running in general, more confident. My stride has gotten better. I can move my arms like more fluid, in a more fluid motion, like my balance has gotten better. Basically, my self-confidence has just like really improved, because before, when I first started track and field, I didn't think I'd be able to do it, but then my parents and coaches and like family and everyone around me were like, no, like you should try, like it'll be really good for you. And they were right. So yeah.
So you went to Spain to compete, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little about that?
So I competed in Spain this August for the World CP Games, and basically athletes that were like from the ages of like 13 and to like 20, late 20s competed there, and we all had cerebral palsy. And I competed in the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and then shot put, javelin, and discus. And it was the first international meet that I've ever been to. And it was a really great experience because I got to be motivated by the people around me, and I got to learn new techniques and just have like new like social experiences. So, and just like experience it, like what it means to be on Team USA. So I like don't take that lightly. Like I really, like it means so much to me.
Now that you've seen Spain, do you plan on going anywhere else internationally to compete?
I really want to. The next international competition for the World CP Games are in Switzerland, I believe. So I really want to make it on that team.
All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Those are all the great segments we have for you this week on the Rise Centennial. Make sure to tune in next week to the Loft's Halloween special.
Also, come out to our big region game at Johns Creek tonight. Let's cut to that video.
Lately I've been feeling like a renegade, somebody save me. Standing in the midst of the crowd, but nobody sees me. Shouting at the top of my lungs, but nobody hears me. All in the name of love, look what you made me.